why therapy doesn't work, here's my curiosity. Why is it that you can do therapy for 17 years and you haven't moved the needle at all in any of these trauma responses? Take a guess. I want you to think about it. With what you just understood, this is part of your trauma education, because nobody really teaches to heal. It's like, I'm not just having you breathe for like an hour or 4 hours. I'm actually teaching you. I got to educate you to how to break the cycle. Understanding this and the insidious nature of trauma, why is it that when you've gone to a therapist or a counselor, or you read books, you got amazing information by really caring, lovely people who gave you medications because they were trained to try to eliminate symptoms, and they meant really well. They all mean very well. They're not evil. I used to have the story, I was like a vigilante. The system back in the early days of my chiropractic is I was that guy. And so as I've kind of softened and gotten a little more understanding, I'm like, oh, that's the system. It's not their fault. It's how they were trained. They don't mean that they're at the effect of their own trauma. I became best friends with like a medical doctor, neuroscientist who, Russ, you guys know Russ, many of you know Russ, who basically, when we met, literally validated everything that I was studying and learning, but couldn't get it felt like I couldn't get the outside world to see me. He saw it because he knew how the system completely failed him. He was the one that introduced me to this. He guided me. He said, go there. And I was like, and then I went there, and then I hired the right people to help me get to the root cause. So my curiosity, I want you to write it down. Why you think, given this context, why you think that the counselor, 37 years of therapy, right. The counselor makes you right, empathizes, and you don't take enough responsibility. Right, I hear that a lot. Because it feels good and it's important, especially if you were in an abusive relationship that felt like a cult. In the beginning, you need to be sat down and told, hey, what you went through was not normal. It wasn't okay. It's not you. Because in those cases, you have so much self-shame and self-blame. You're beating the crap out of yourself so much that you need support workers, mental health workers and social workers. We need those people, because what do? They're usually wounded people who themselves are now trying to rescue others, and they're all burnt out. Every social worker I've ever met has burnout because they're rescuing and they haven't healed their traumas. But it's important in those cases to have validation. Go, hey, it's not your fault, because you're blaming yourself. The problem is 1 year goes by, 2 years go by, and you're still going into the therapist's office telling your story and they're saying it's not your fault, is actually perpetuating it. If you're still in the same story and it's 2 years has passed and you're still calling yourself a survivor, then whatever therapy that you're going through doesn't kind of bring in any type of empowerment. It's actually keeping you there, which was necessary to get you out of despair, getting angry. So it's almost like as I'm reading therapists online and trauma survivor, whatever therapists I'm reading, and I can feel and sense where they're at in their healing. Because to truly heal, the person has transcended the issue where they've now created a different result in their lives. So if they had the pattern of codependency and they're a codependent coach, have they themselves demonstrated that they're in a secure relationship now, and they can speak from a scar rather than a wound? Does that make sense, you guys? So that's what I look for whenever I'm looking for somebody to work with, because everyone's at their own level. Every therapist, doctors are at their own level, and the guide that you're taking on can only take you as far as they've only gone. That's why I keep going deeper, because I want to help people actually resolve it. Does this make sense? Beautiful. So they serve a purpose for an initial period of time, right? To get you out of survival mode. Sure. Okay. This work is, all right, I'm tired of being in survival mode. I'm ready to thrive. I'm ready to fully invest, and I'm ready to be a cycle breaker, right? Helps you see a need, but if you're going 17 years and you're just having them validate your side of the story, you're not growing. You possibly have transferred the codependent relationship from your parent to your partner, now to the therapist. That's why I keep telling people, no, you're the hero. You're the hero. Because I don't want you being codependent on me. The old me would have loved that because it would have validated my own insecurity for you to say, oh, you're my hero. But as I heal myself more, the more you're like, Dr. Nima, help, you're gonna help me. I'm like, yeah, I am not your fucking hero. You are your hero. Hero involves being rescued. No one can rescue you. You must invest in a fair exchange relationship to receive guidance so that you don't feel rescued. You're like, damn it, I invested in this. I'm gonna do the work, right? Totally. I did with my next therapist. Took me so long to leave her when I felt it wasn't. Exactly, Melissa. You literally just told, it's just, and how do we know when people apply to work with us and they're like, they talk to Kim and they're like, I don't know. Let me see what my therapist says. It's like, excuse me? You've literally, or I just want to know, I just got to check with my husband. It's like, oh, the fact that you just said that is, so then I ask, what if they say no? Then my next question to you goes, great, I'm glad you said that. What if they say no? Well, maybe I'm like, can you see the problem there? Do you see the problem there? Can you see it? And they're like, no, I don't see it. I'm like, okay, you're not ready. That's okay. Heart breaks every time. Literally 9 out of 10 applicants. It's so, it's like we scratch our heads and we're like, all right, how do we make sure that they're really ready? So it's like, okay, maybe I gotta be a little bit more clear, right? That we all be unique. Beautiful. So why therapy alone? Not saying it doesn't help. It's so helpful to have somebody just to vent to somebody to say it's not your fault, somebody maybe to teach you a skill or two, like tapping or whatever. But why it can't is because to heal, we must go deeper. We must expand our capacity to feel our own emotions and release the stuck survival stress at the body-based level. And you'll see through this work how very little talking you have to do in order to do it. There's very little, right? This sounds a lot easier than it is, and the reason why you can't will be the reason why you must. The reason why you can't, or the excuse that you're gonna come up with, pay attention. It's the exact, oh, I don't have a lot of time because I've just basically overloaded my schedule so that I don't feel my grief. I can't do it because I'm a single mom. That's exactly why you must do it. You gotta break the reason why you can't is the reason why you must.